not about making friends over here in this locker room and trying to get on, trying to get cool with the office and all this other type of stuff. If the office like me, that's cool. You know what I mean? Me and Carlos, we good. You know what I mean? We play fantasy football together. And that's why it's Trick and A now. You understand what I'm saying?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Zack Heydorn here with the Takedown on SI on YouTube. And with me today, Trick Williams, the TNA World Champion, ahead of TNA Slammiversary coming up this weekend. Trick, you got a big weekend ahead of you. We're going to get to that in a minute. But you're sitting next to that TNA World Heavyweight Championship belt. You're an NXT star in the WWE. Man, what has it been like cross-pollinating from two different companies?
Man, I've been living the dream. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, if you haven't invested in the Trick Williams stock yet, I mean, now is the last opportunity you probably gonna get. You know what I mean? Because you can't afford it after Sunday. You know what I mean, man? We just been rolling, man. We've been balling. We've been making history. And I'm proud of everything, man. I'm proud to be TNA champ. I'm proud to be the man of NXT. I'm proud to be WWE. It's just a good time.
Slammiversary, you're putting the title on the line. Joe Hendry and Mike Santana, a triple threat match. Two guys that you've come to have some history with and a backstory with throughout the last 3-4 months. How are you going to get this job done, man? How are you going to get it done with both those guys in the ring with you at the same time? They both want a piece of that TNA championship.
And man, one punch at a time. These are two guys who can't stand each other, but for some reason they get along just to take out Trick Williams. But the truth is, Trick Williams has taken out Mike Santana, and I have taken out Joe Hendry. So all I gotta do is trust what I know I can do. And that's why I work so hard, man. That's why, man, I was training right before I got on this interview with you. And I'm gonna get back to training as soon as I'm done. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. That's what it takes.
Do you feel any added responsibility as an NXT star holding the TNA championship? Because I mean, yes, you're representing NXT and you're representing TNA, but also there's a trust in you to kind of hold together that the partnership between those two companies too. So what's it like, kind of just on the personal side, pressure or responsibility to the company, to both companies, as you're holding down the fort as champion?
You know, as of late, man, I've kind of released all responsibilities to anybody other than myself. And I feel so much lighter and I feel so much better. You know, those championship runs at NXT, I feel like I was trying to carry the weight of, everybody, all the fans, all my family and everybody, and want to make people proud and want to show everybody what I'm capable of. And somewhere along the line, I felt like a politician. You know what I mean? I felt like I was almost losing the true essence of who Trick Williams was, trying to make sure that everybody else was happy. And that's when I learned, man, this ain't about anybody else. This is my life. When I look back in 10, 20 years, I'm going to either be proud of what happened or I'm not. And it's going to be because of what I did. It's not going to be because of what anybody else did. That's why I learned it's not about making people believe and having people, you know, do all this other type of stuff. And like, nah, man, it's about this is what I want my reality to be. And if you are motivated by that, if you support Trick Williams, that's fine. And if you don't support Trick Williams, that's fine too. And that's just how I'm approaching it now. And I feel a lot better, man. I've had a lot more success. I feel more organic. I feel like I'm just growing at an insane rate, just being me. So, take away all that pressure.
Was there a moment where that clicked for you to kind of change your mindset about that, in terms of how you manage yourself, on a day to day? Like, was there one loss or something in the gym or conversation with somebody backstage? Like, I mean, it just seems like a pretty big but important pivot from a mindset perspective.
Ironically, I truly believe is when I step foot in TNA. Now, when I step foot in TNA, and I work very hard to get to the spot that I am. You know what I mean? And people say you haven't been in the business that long and all this other type of stuff. Forget that, man. I bust my butt all my life. You don't look like this on accident. the things I've done to get to where I am, like you can't deny it. And as I walked in the TNA locker room, I'm getting side eyes, smirks, all these other sound effects and stuff because people think I'm not deserving of the opportunity. You think I'm an outsider just coming in trying to, serve myself. And partially they are right. Partially, it is the truth, but partially part of it too is I was like, man, like no matter what you do, somebody always gonna have something to say. And that's when I realized, man, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. It's not about making friends over here in this locker room and trying to get on, trying to get cool with the office and all this other type of stuff. If the office like me, that's cool. You know what I mean? Me and Carlos, we good. You know what I mean? We play fantasy football together. And that's why it's Trick and A now. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh! All right, let's if we can like maybe reminisce for a little bit. I'd like to do that. I was in the building for Stand and Deliver WrestleMania weekend in Philadelphia. You had a crowning moment there. Big, big show, big responsibility. Kind of like a uh, kind of like a cherry on top of one era in NXT. And it's also the first time for you, kind of like you know at the top of the marquee, right, for a
Mhm.
major show on a major weekend. What did that feel like to be in that position and to wrestle that match? I mean, the crowd that you had was extremely energetic, firmly on your side, kind of like old mindset trick, I think, based on what you just mentioned. But I'm real interested in just to hear your thoughts on that weekend and that show in particular, because it seemed like a real level up moment for you.
Man, that's exactly what it was. I mean, that moment right there, which was such a heartfelt storyline. You know what I mean? A guy who I used to call my brother, you know, Carmelo Hayes, for the first time we faced off one on one in that ring. A guy who, I supported for years at this time, and backed him up and supported his career, helped him get gold, helped him become world champion, on different occasions. And uh, yeah, for it to unfold like it did, it was a lot of emotions going on, man. Like, dang, I'm really standing across the ring from my brother. The crowd is going crazy. They invested. And the whole time, I'm like, man, I can't believe we're here right now. You know what I mean? Like, and then other stuff is going on too. Like, you don't think about it at the time, but you get told this stuff afterwards. Like, yeah, you know why it's so loud in there? Because that was the largest NXT audience ever in
Yeah.
NXT history. You know what I mean? And you and Carmelo Hayes just main evented that, no title on the line. I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? That's just a crazy moment. When as you say, we look back hindsight, like it's just a crazy moment. And how do you know that you're even ready for those moments before they happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a really great moment. I remember being in the building, being like, "Man, this is cool stuff." You've come up through the WWE Performance Center system, and you spent a lot of time there, and you've really, found your work in the ring. You found your work as a character, personality, microphone, all that stuff. Has been kind of run through that training facility. Talk just what it's like to be there and to work under and with Shawn Michaels and all the other coaches that are there. How much has that environment helped you throughout the last couple years?
Yeah, man. I mean, Sean is the GOAT. I mean, and you know, me and Sean have had countless conversations now, about the business, about performing, about a lot of different things. And it's crazy. I told the story a lot, but maybe it's probably 3 years ago now. And I remember the first time I really like went into Sean's office myself, not Trick Mello, but just Trick, and said, "Yo, Sean, like, man, I love what I'm doing, and I love supporting and making sure Melo's good, but I kind of want to take a chance on myself and see what I can do." And it's the first time I ever did anything like that. It's the first time I took a chance on myself in his office. And he said, "You know, Trick, a lot of guys come to me and they come to my office and they want the ball. The truth is, you know, if I give you an opportunity and you're not ready for it, I'm gonna put you on the bench." I said, "Oh shoot," you know what I mean? So I had the whole you safe right here, you know, backing up and helping Melo, or you could take a chance on yourself. And I just remember saying like, I didn't come into this game to be a backup or just to
That's
be
it.
a man. You know what I mean? I came here to be the guy. Like I want to main event WrestleMania. Like Attitude Era. I love watching The Rock. You know what I mean? I love watching Stone Cold, Booker T. That those moments, is the ones for me that made it feel special. And I wanted to see whether I was right or whether I was wrong. You know what I mean? Can I be that guy? And to be honest with you, I got the opportunity and I had a lot of growing to do. I wasn't the most polished in ring. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit that. But Sean, man, he stuck there with me, and he kept giving me opportunities. And now I feel like the respect he has for me and my work as a performer is the most rewarding thing ever because it's Shawn Michaels, man. Like he's forgotten more about the business than probably most of the NXT roster even knows now. So you know, to earn his respect, through hard work over the years is special to me.
Yeah, wow, that's great. All right, two more questions for you. One, you keeping tabs on Mello on the main roster? You keeping tabs on what he's doing and maybe what not to do when you go up there, or something that you definitely want to do? Like how does that work with when your arch rival heads up to SmackDown?
Yeah, man. I mean, I see he just proposed, to Kalani. So, I'm happy about that. Aside from the business, man, like that's something that's gonna hopefully last longer than the business. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So,
yeah, yeah.
I'm happy that he's found true love and all that good stuff. I ain't trying to be soft, but that's cool for him that he's reached that next level. And as far as his work, yeah, I mean, we all know Melo's good. Like he's always been not even good. We all know Melo's been great. So, of course he can do the moves and, do impressive things. I would like to see him, succeed and show people what he can do more. There's no hate. I don't hate him. You know, funny enough, when you look at groups like you like music,
Of course, yeah. Oh yeah.
you know, some like the Hot Boys, Cash Money, Lil Wayne, Juvenile, you know, they came up as a group originally, and they split up for whatever ways. Lil Wayne he outgrew the group. I love Juvenile, but Lil Wayne outgrew the group, and it took them 10, 12 years before they was able to share the stage again. I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like 10, 12 years before they can get back and perform these songs that everybody loved that they performed together. I, they did that last year. I just thought about how crazy it is. 10, 12 of the years they haven't seen each other or at least perform together. And like that's wild when you think about it. When they're run together, it's really like 3 or 4 years. Cash Money Hot Boys is probably a thing. So
Hmm.
the magic they made together, still held on, even though it was a short period of time when you think about it. So I look at the big picture. People love Trip Mellow Gang, and it's been good for both of us. I mean, he's making a lot of money. He's he engaged. He doing his thing, and it's Trick and A over here. So we can't be upset about it.
TNA Slammiversary coming up this weekend. Trick Williams against Joe Hendry and Mike Santana for the TNA World Championship. Uh, you are you've headlined at WrestleMania weekend, NXT Stand and Deliver, and now you're going to headline and defend the TNA World Championship at one of their signature events. Is there anybody else in TNA besides these two guys that keep knocking on your door that you'd like to work with or defend that belt against before your time with that company's up?
And I'm gonna put an asterisk on what you just said, and I'm gonna make a bold claim. I want
Ooh,
AJ Styles.
ah, I like it.
I want AJ Styles. People chanting his name during my promo on Saturday here in Atlanta,
Yeah.
and I find that disrespect. You know what I mean? So if they want to see who's the greatest TNA champ of all time, let's talk about it, man. Bring out AJ Styles, run against Trick Williams one time. Let's see what happens.
I love it, and I'll double asterisk that. I will double asterisk that. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, TNA Slammiversary coming up this weekend. Trick Williams defending the TNA World Championship against Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. Trick, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on all your success, and good luck this weekend.
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me.